Welcome to part 2 of the Bronte Ways. As promised, we're going to have a look at other parts of the village. It's interesting to speculate just how much of the present day village the Brontes would recognise. The general layout is probably the same, but the picturesque tourist village of today is not one they would recognise. Then, it was a much grimmer picture. There was no sewage system. It festered through open drains. The water supply ran through a graveyard already crammed with bodies. The nearer to the top of the village you lived, the healthier it was. A report in 1850 found that over 40% of the children died under the age of 6, and that the average age at death was only 25. The graveyard tells of the casualties of these appalling living conditions all too clearly. In the time of the Brontes, there was an opening here that led from the parsonage to the church. Appropriately known as the Gate of the Dead, it was the route taken by that seemingly endless procession of coffins to the family vault in the church. Branwell's appetites weren't satisfied by alcohol. He topped himself up with visits to the apothecary just across the way, where he purchased laudanum, an opiate, from Bessie Hardacre, the druggist. The shop retains its former name, and walking through the doors it's like stepping back in time. It's warmly lit by glass globes, and you're surrounded by exotic fragrances. So this is the Bronte waterfall. I know it takes a bit of poetic license to see this trickle as a waterfall, but this secluded spot was one of Emily's favourites. She'd walk here with her dog Keeper and find inspiration for writing her poetry.
That was the scene, I knew it well. I knew the turfy pathway sweep, that winding o'er each billowy swell, marked out the tracks of wandering sheep.
So this is it, Top Withens, the place traditionally claimed to be the setting for Wuthering Heights. Although the house here in no shape or form matches that described in the novel, its bleak, exposed, wuthering location certainly does. Soon we get our first sighting of one of Lancashire's most famous landmarks, Pendle Hill, home to myths and legends of the notorious witch trials. Its brooding presence will watch over us for the rest of our journey. At this point, the Bronte Way meets the Pendle Way, and we join the ladies on their broomsticks and wing our way down Wycoller Dean to the idyllic village of Wycoller below us. High above us, on the right-hand side of the valley, is a rocky outcrop known as Foster's Leap. Legend has it that local barn pot Foster Cunliffe from Wycoller safely jumped the gap between the boulders. Built at the end of the 16th century by the Hartley family, Wycoller Hall was extended by Squire Cunliffe in the 18th century, partly, it is said, in an attempt to attract a wealthy wife. Well, if your feet are a bit worse for wear after you trudge off at moors, here's Thurston Brook babbling away, inviting you to dangle your feet and just soothe them a bit. Gawthorpe Hall has been the ancestral home of the Shuttleworth family for centuries. Originally a 4-storey peel tower, the building was continually extended as the family prospered. Charlotte said of the hall that it was
Much to my taste, near 3 centuries old, grey, stately and picturesque.
The family became the Kay Shuttleworths in the 19th century on the marriage of Janet Shuttleworth to the celebrated educational reformer Dr. James Kay. During their time, the old house was redesigned by Sir Charles Barry, architect of the Houses of Parliament. The ornamental gardens were laid out during the middle of the 19th century. In the early 1970s, the house and grounds are given to the National Trust and leased to Lancashire County Council for educational purposes. Well, we brought you to some lovely tea rooms along the Bronte Way, but what finer surroundings there are than here in the tea rooms at Gawthorpe Hall. You've finished the Bronte Way. Well done. Cheers.